Okay, how's it, guys? Yes, busy weekend doing this on my own. A few other things going on. Quite avid football fans as well, so keeping an eye on the Football World Cup. Just watched France play Poland. France beat Poland, but in a case, we have to talk about rugby. So internationals are over, back to the URC, and started with the Sharks Ospreys in Durban. Sharks had a tough time, a tough week. Sorry, it is very, very hot in Pretoria. 32 degrees Celsius today, so a bit of sweat going around. And they lost at home to Cardiff last week, 25-0, and the coach got fired, Sean Everett. So the director of rugby, the former Sevens coach Neil Powell, is now the coach. So they had a bit of a shaky start, a bit of like filling out the game, not really going for anything, and it sort of carried on like that. The Ospreys played quite well. But the Sharks got those crucial tries, a try by Noche in the 25th minute. Kevin Bosch started at fly-off for the first time in a while, and he made his kicks, he did a few good things, but the whole thing was sort of cagey. The whole game sort of didn't want to risk too much, just kind of like try to make sure that they get the win. They get the win. They won 25-10 in the end. They didn't get a bonus point. They scored 3 tries. By Noche, Bosch and Venter. The Ospreys scored 2 tries, unconverted tries, no penalties. Not a great watch, but happy for them. Interesting the way forward now for the Sharks, what they're going to do. It sort of has a little bit of a, talking about football, it has a bit of a football feel around it, because I think the American bosses want results, so they got kind of impatient with Sean Everett, and I hope they bring some of the big South African talent back to the country, someone like a Johan Ackerman, or maybe a Brendan Venter, or one of the coaches coaching overseas, maybe even a Jimmy Stonehouse or someone to come and coach the Sharks. You never know, but they've got a lot of work to do. They really didn't look great. And I wish them all the best, but it wasn't a great start. Alright, and then we had Edinburgh Munster. Edinburgh started really well. I actually took the time to watch the game, but I watched the game because they were 12-0 ahead originally, scored some points early on, but then Munster took over, so they scored a try in the 2nd minute and the 13th minute. And then Munster scored through Casey and Scannell, and then they just sort of took over away from home. It's a very, very good win for Munster. Carberry had his kicking boots on. He made 5 conversions and a penalty. And a very good away win for Munster, who's like sort of the third in line Irish team, if we're starting to understand the Irish hierarchy correctly. So very good for them. Sorry for Edinburgh at home. It was the Stormers against the Dragons. They ended up winning 34-26. They started extremely well. So much creativity from the likes of Clayton Blommetjies, and Ruan Nel scored a great try. Blommetjies really could express himself, but then it got a bit tight, and they started conceding tries, and it wasn't that convincing in the end, but they did the hard work in the beginning. Very, very creative tries, very flashy tries, players really expressing themselves, like I said. Moni Leboeck as well, so good to see, playing with a lot of confidence, and a very good win for them, for the Stormers. Then Zebre played Glasgow at home, still struggling. They lost 17-45. So just to go back, to the Stormers moved into 3rd, Dragons in 13th, Zebre still 16th, Glasgow 9th now after a bonus point win against Zebre. And Connacht Benetton started quite well, looked like they would compete, but Connacht beat them 38-19 in the end. They're in 11th and Benetton in 12th. So both teams with a sort of okay season, better than last year. And then 8 o'clock on Saturday here, South African time, the Bulls played Cardiff. Bulls sort of started as if they tried too hard, too many 50-50 passes in the first half. It just took a little bit of a while for the team to gel again. And when they got going, the floodgates opened, and they scored a lot of tries, a lot of great tries, and they won 45-9. Cardiff with no tries in that game, and the Bulls scored tries through Moody, Arendse, Goosen. Goosen had a great game. If he can stay fit, I think he can still be a good backup in the 10 jersey, merit on what he showed last night. Moody scored two tries. Rowan Orkea was captain. Elrich Louw had a great game, which is also, the debate is still open about the Roos Louw, about the next upcoming number 8. He can play 7 as well, which gives him a bit of a different option. But he had a really, really good game, and Goosen also had a very good game. So that was a convincing victory by the Bulls. And then Leinster Ulster. Wow, what a game as well. Watch that. Try to keep an eye on that because the games were sort of at the same time. Leinster won 38-29, and Leinster got a red card early on. Cian Healy got a red card in the 20th minute, and I thought this was the chance for Ulster to win the game. They were leading early on by about 15, 16 points. I think it was 19 something at half time. And I thought, there's no way Leinster's going to come back from that. And I was wrong. This is a class team. And a team that can fight back even though they have a red card like that. And that belief is amazing. And I think teams are preparing for this. You see it on the international scene. We saw it in the internationals, in the autumn internationals, that teams prepare for that red card incident. So they did extremely well, even though Ulster had a yellow card right at the end in the last 10 minutes, and it was sort of even 14 against 14. They in the end they won convincingly. So still unbeaten, extremely dangerous. Ulster moved down the log. They have gone down to 4th on the log. Leinster still first. So it's Leinster, Bull, Stormers. First the Stormers, then the Bull. First the Bulls, then the Stormers. So a great win for Leinster. Then on the Sunday, I watched the Lions Scarlets. Lions also started very similarly to the Stormers. Came out of the blocks very quickly. Scored a few very, very good tries. A very good try by Rabs Matwane, who we've sort of forgotten about. And they had a few injuries, but the guys who stepped up, Emmanuel Chatuka looks really, really good. Outside centre for came in for Enku van Wyk for the Lions. Played a great game. He's also a young prodigy who played really well. But the Scarlets showed a lot of heart, and they've got great players in the locks. Vaya Fafita, he had to go off with a face injury, but they've got some great players, and I think if they keep building on that squad, they can do quite well in the future. But it's tough. It's a tough tour to South Africa, but 32-15, they might take a bit of heart from that. And then I just want to look ahead to next week. So next week we're going to start with the Heineken Cup and the Challenge Cup games. You've got Worcester playing the Lions, just from a South African perspective. On the Friday, we've got the Cheetahs playing. Let's just have a look. The Sharks are playing Harlequins at home in the Heineken Champions Cup. The Stormers are playing away to Clermont. The Bulls are playing home to Lyon at 7:30. So might try and get myself to Loftus to watch my first Heineken Champions Cup game. Should be very good. And even a few Sunday games, the international teams are playing. Sharks, Ulster, Munster, Toulouse, great games. Saracens, Edinburgh, Ospreys, Leicester, Scarlets also playing. So looking forward to that. That's a first for us. you know. It's a new era going into European rugby for the South African team. So really, really can't wait for next weekend. It's a big one for us as South Africans. Go Bulls. Go all the South African teams. A good weekend. All the South African teams won. Home games. Some of them tougher than other ones, but generally a very good weekend. So just a quick update from me. Thanks. Having a Tomerton Highland whiskey, single malt. Cheers.